things festers into large ones. And once we respect life and property, then Manchester can be a safe place. And I will tell you, we ask the support of everyone to keep Manchester safe, because I don't want Manchester to be declared a place for special police intervention. I thank you.
Thank you, His Worship. We would rather have Manchester be the place of choice to live, to work, to raise our family, to do business, and to play. Thank you very much. And I must tell you that we have this stakeholders partnership with the Manchester Municipal Corporation, the police, NWA, so far, and we are working assiduously to address some of these issues in Manchester. And we can only achieve them through cooperation, and we're going to be asking you, the business people, to understand and cooperate with all of what the initiatives that we will be putting out forward for Manchester. All right? Thank you. Before I invite Ms. Anya Simmons to introduce to you Mr. Wayne Cameron, I just want to acknowledge the presence of some special persons among us. I don't know all the names. We have with us Miss Rochelle Johnson from the Forestry Department. I think she might be traveling all the way from way over in Western Jamaica, right? But you work further. Okay, welcome, and we hope to have you again. We have with us, is it Second Lieutenant Young? Lieutenant, okay. Welcome, sir. There are others amongst us that I don't know the names, but I will say welcome, and we're very happy to have you. I now invite Ms. Tanya Simmons to introduce our next presenter.
With all protocol observed, let me say good evening to everyone. I deem it an honor to introduce a very distinguished gentleman who was born in Browns Hall in the parish of St. Catherine, where his education started at the Marley Hill Primary School. After completing Tatius Golden Secondary, he enrolled at the Michael Teachers College, where he majored in art and craft and obtained a diploma in teaching. The zest for success continued, hence, he studied for a Bachelor of Education at the University of the West Indies, majoring in Literature Studies, and graduated with second-class honors, upper division. He is also the holder of a Master of Science in Gender Development Studies. On July 15, 1991, he enlisted in the Jamaica Constabulary Force, where he has served in various capacities, which include class instructor at the Jamaica Police Academy in 1996, and the leader of the Halfway Tree Police Youth Club in the St. Andrew Central. In 2000, he served at the Constabulary Communication Network as a Metro officer, where he did media interviews and reported a year as commanding officer. He then commanded the St. Anne Division in 2015 until he was transferred to Manchester in 2016. A trained police motorcyclist with certificates of achievement in Command Program, Proceeds of Crime Act, Money Laundering, Train the Trainer, and Paralegal courses. He also has a certificate of accreditation in Supervisory Committee course, certificate of competence in the Narcotics Investigators course, and a certificate of qualification in Law of Arms Conflict course. In 2009, he received a Medal of Certification Award at the 5th Summit of the Americas held in Trinidad and Tobago, and a Medal of Award at the 52nd Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting in November of the same year. He has expertise in the areas of interpersonal skills, problem solving, leadership management, and language development. He serves as a member of the Optimist Club of Mona and the board of Portland Industrial Arts Program. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you a man with 26 years of distinguished service to the Jamaica Constabulary Force, the commanding officer of the Manchester Police Division, Superintendent Wayne Cameron.
Thank you, Ms. Simmons. Every time I hear an introduction about Wayne Cameron, I wonder if they're really talking about me. You hear a lot of things that you didn't even remember that you have been through those. I'm from Browns Hall in St. Catherine, as she mentioned, but having experienced Manchester, I doubt I'll go back to Browns Hall. I've met some very welcoming persons here, some quite generous too. And of course, I really enjoy the climatic conditions in this parish. It is interesting to hear, Mr. Walters, the prayer you offered about the high crime rate plaguing us. I am going to hasten to say that it is a very worthy prayer. But Manchester, we sit central, and a lot of things have been happening around us. So what we intend to do is not just to pray, but to do some work to ensure that our borders remain strong. And remember, even the good book says it, that faith without work is dead. Thanks again, Ms. Simmons. I did not come here to preach today, but Mr. Green, Garfield Green, the president of the Manchester Chamber of Commerce, His Worship, the Mayor, Councillor Donovan Mitchell. I'm seeing Councillor Oliphant Jones. I'm seeing quite a number of business persons in this setting, and of course I'm happy to see them, because a lot of what we will present will impact our business people as well, to do some work to ensure that our borders remain strong. Residents, and remember, even the good book says it, Mandeville in particular, without work, and visitors is dead. The pleasure is mine. I'm happy to speak to you this thanks again, evening on our crime situation in the I did not come here to preach today, division, as we call it. Mr. Green, Garfield Green, the president of the suffice it to Manchester Chamber of Commerce, my advent into this parish was October 25, 2016. The mayor, councillor, I've been here Donovan 1 year, 4.5 months. Councillor Oliphant Jones, mostly good so far. Quite a number of so let us look at some of the persons that have been in this setting. I'll just wait on the minister.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, the honorable minister is here. May we just welcome him, please. And we will extend welcome to his assistant that is with him.
Honorable Minister, welcome to one of the safer parishes in Jamaica. So let's take a look at what we have been doing and where we intend to go. So this afternoon's presentation is really to bring to your attention, and of course even our visitors, or foreign nationals, we have quite a few of them in this parish. Some updates on what has been taking place in respect to the crime situation in the parish of Manchester. Honourable Minister, of course, to look at some emerging trends that you really need to be aware of. So let's take a look at what we have been doing and where we intend to go. So we ended the year 2017 with 44 murders, a little too high in respect to the projections that we made at the start of the year. We really intended so this afternoon's presentation is really to bring to your attention number of things and happened during the course of that year. So foreign nationals, we have quite a few of them. We ended up with 44 murders, but I'm glad what has been taking place in respect to the crime very good at getting to the root of the parish of Manchester. Those situations. And so, of course, we're able to clear emerging trends that you really need to be aware of the murders that we had in that particular year. So let's take a look at what we have. One of the highest clear-up rates in Jamaica, as it is right now, and where we intend to go. So we ended the year for 2018-17 with 44 we again will look at a reduced figure high. No more than 36 in respect to the projections that we made at the start of the year. We will want to reduce. So this afternoon's presentation is really to have your attention. Some challenges, number of highlight happened during the course of that year. So we have set a target, quite a few of them. We ended up with 44 murders, but with this year, what has been taking place since the start of this year at getting to the root of the parish of Manchester situation in the parish, and so that's the murder down here, emerging trends. You might really need to be aware of the murders also that we had picked up a body in that particular year. So let's take a look at what we have. One of the highest clear-up rates also as it is right now, January, and where we intend to go. So today we ended the year. So for 2018, first off, with 44, we again will mark at we would have reduced the high no more than February in respect to the projections that we made at the start of the year. We will want to so this afternoon's presentation is really to listen at some challenges, number of highlights happened during the course of that year. So we have set a target, quite a few of them. We ended up with 44 murders, but with this year, what has been taking place since the start of this year, we look at the murders in the station area, Manchester situation. Those that are down here, emerging trends, really need to be aware. So the lion's share of the murders that we picked up a body in that particular year. So let's take a look at what we have. One of the highest man rates also mentioned right now, January, community so today we ended the year. So for 2018, first off, we again will do this type of analysis, reduce the high later no more than in respect to the projections that we have there. We will want to so this afternoon's presentation is really to listen at the challenges, we have to so we have quite a few of them. We ended up with 44 7 or 16% of the murders since the start of this year. Evaluation area, Manchester situation. Those who emerging committing murder really need to be aware. So the lion's share of the murders that we picked up a body in that particular year. So let's take a look at one of the highest man rates also mentioned right now, January, community and this would of course. So today we ended the year. So for 2018, first off, because we again will use that with this type of analysis, reduce the high later no more than in respect to the projections that we have there. We will not be afternoon's presentation is really to listen at the challenges, these are some we have to so we check quite a few of this year ensure 7 or 16% of the murders in the evaluation area, transfer situation. Those who emerging committing murder really need to be aware. So the lion's share of the murders that we picked up a body in that particular year. The highest man to come into the mentioned right, and those points January community and this would of course so those partners communicating for those partners communicating for
Special
But at the back end of it, there are persons, unscrupulous business people here and elsewhere who are buying goods from these breakers. So you talk about the items of choice. In robberies, cell phone is at the top of the list, cash and jewelry. In break-ins, they are going to take cell phones if those are available, but your 50-inch television is going to go. Jewelry and firearms, if they get access to your firearms. So of the 57 break-ins that we have had since the start of this year, one came to your attention, I'm sure, through the media, and it's where a businessman's house was broken into and 4 firearms stolen. And this has become a feature for Manchester. So in the last 5 years in Manchester, 45 firearms have been stolen from dwellings and from individuals. And if I should add the 4 that have been stolen since the start of this year, we're at 49. So in the same breath, over the same period, we have recovered 122 firearms, but having lost 49, when we do the math, we are really at 73. So firearms stolen would account for 40% of the overall total of firearms that have been recovered in this parish. So we need to look at where do we go from here, and especially with that particular category. Our intent, therefore, is to increase our efforts to arrest the number of persons who are involved in break-ins in this parish. And if we can do that, that will continue to contribute to a reduction in break-ins. I have looked at some previous year statistics of break-ins in this parish, and there was one particular year where break-ins climbed to near 500 for the year. So when we are seeing 280, we are trending in the correct direction. But we have some challenges. And one of them is that I realize that Mandeville, Manchester, we have a lot of large, very big houses, but many of them are not occupied. They are left for extended period of time, and the owners are overseas or elsewhere. And it becomes a prime opportunity for people to break into. We have found that when we talk about target hardening, many residents don't pay attention to what we are talking about. They don't even listen to us until they find their dwelling broken into. And so, for instance, that house that was broken into recently and the firearms taken, at the upper level, there was, for instance, absolutely no grill work, no surveillance system. And so that's easy access for people who spend their nights and days as well breaking into people's dwellings and shops. Becomes easy access. Suffice it to say that they had all night to break into the safe and to steal the firearms. What we have found is that communities with well-established neighborhood watches and citizens associations experience far lesser crimes than communities that do not have that. And in 2016 and 2017, no community in Manchester that has a vibrant neighborhood watch in place experienced a murder in their community. So a part of our program going forward this year is to revitalize all the dormant neighborhood watches in Manchester and to look at communities where we can establish new ones. And similar attention will be given to the police youth clubites, the communities where we can draw on the resources, tap in on the energy of the youths. And so we look at Comfort, the community of Comfort as an example. Last year we had a double murder in Comfort. And we decided that we were going to go into this community and give it some special attention. It has a very terrible name to it. What we have done is to, bit by bit, try to remove the stigma by encouraging residents in the community to get themselves into substantial ways of life, so to speak. And we assist them through community meetings and engage in other social agencies, the municipality, the SDC, and other government agencies, so we can build on what they have already. But our intent really is to make Comfort a safe place for the residents there and for persons who are traversing that community. And a part of what we have done so far is to launch it earlier this year as a safe community. By going in, we have contacted, for instance, the Jamaica Public Service. We want them to put in lights in areas that are dark and we need street lights there. We have spoken with the municipality. We need road signs, all roads to be named. We need house numbers. So every gate is to have a number. And what we are driving at, bit by bit, is that by the end of this year, we want to launch a neighborhood watch in that community. We want to look at some emerging trends in this parish. And I realized that criminals like to come to Manchester for more than one reason. One, they may want to come and cool out because it's a parish where you can cool out. You can hide away from the hustle and bustle of the parish they're coming from. And two, they find lucrative ways of making money in this parish. That includes scamming, of course. So we have to pay attention to new things that are happening in the parish from time to time. And when we look at this one, the issue of kidnapping, how many of you know that this, if we don't deal with it decisively, is set up to be a trend in this parish? In 2015, there was one such case of kidnapping. In 2017, there was another such case. And since this year, just in February here, we have had a third case. In all the instances, we were fortunate to make significant breakthroughs. This one in February, I will speak to you briefly on, where a man met another man online. And he was invited into a particular community. And when he got there, he was met by a female who took him to a particular house where there were 9 men waiting, including the one who invited him online. The long and the short of it is that he was held for ransom and the money was paid over. We have done significant work on this particular case because so far we have arrested 6 of the 10 individuals involved, including a female And you would have heard about, I've spoken about the Grey Ground gangster, Ron Smiley, before in many forums. That in this particular instance, the lead person in this kidnapping case is his brother, Keon Smiley. He has been charged and put before the court already and has been remanded. And I would also tell you that Keon Smiley sat the police test and passed it. Twice. But if you think about it, it means that we have to be doing something right, because we really went deep into the antecedent background of this individual. But I have to bring it to your attention, because we have business people here, and usually the targets are persons who are children of business people or business people themselves, or someone connected to someone with a lot of wealth. So you need to know what we are doing about it. We are targeting the persons who are specifically involved in that trend in Manchester. So I spoke about those 3 incidents of kidnapping, but I am pretty much aware that as far back as 2008 or 2009, there were kidnapping incidents reported in Manchester. Lottery scamming, and we know about that. 35 operations mean that 35 operations by the unit responsible for that type of the raids and so on lottery scammers. We're talking about our proactive investigation unit. But there are far more operations from general policing, because once a policeman has the information, he's going to get his warrant drafted and he's going to go in search of these people. But I'm speaking specifically about what the proactive unit has done so far in respect to scammers in this parish. That last year we put 9 of them before the court. The challenge with it is the evidence building, because you really have to have the evidence to put them before a court. There was a time when you would catch them with the lead sheets, actual paper. They have moved away from that. Lead sheets are now on cell phones. And when they use one cell phone to carry out the nefarious activity, then they throw away that one and move on to another one. All right? They refer to them as bangers. Anybody here with any? Because we might have to look into your background too. Some others were detained on suspicion, 18 others. And so far this year we have arrested 6 for lottery scamming. But what we find, as I mentioned before, it becomes more difficult to investigate and to police, because a lot of people benefit from that particular crime. Mothers do, sisters do, girlfriends do, other members of the community do, and they do not talk to you about it until something goes horribly wrong, such as murder. Because where there is scamming, there will be guns, because the scammer is going to buy a gun to protect himself. And if he does not do that, he's going to pay a gunman to protect him. So at some point, that comes into play, and we are going to get murders out of it. So we are making every effort to go after persons who are involved in this illicit trade in the parish of Manchester. Another emerging trend, child pornography. 3 cases last year. 3 persons have been arrested and charged. And also breaches of the Cybercrime Act. And this is where people circulate nude pictures and so on of other individuals and social media. It's a breach of the cybercrime law. And we are having that in Manchester as well. I am happy to report that in all of those instances, we have arrested persons. And we hope that these arrests will be a deterrent to any such further occurrences. So what will we do this year? Again, we're going to advise residents the issue of target hardening. Look at those places where you think someone will not be able to get into your house. Usually, that's where they will target. A bathroom window, as an example. And if there's no grill work, maybe you need to think about putting one there. We have had instances where they are cut away the grill. But at least it serves as a delay. And we should also make greater efforts to use surveillance technology. And I say that because even with increased police presence, we go into Ingleside as an example, and 2 or 3 radar cars pass through. Any man who was committing an act of breaking at that time will simply hid himself away. Once the police is out of the community, he will simply continue. So we have taken it one step further by introducing police officers who are not so visible. That has helped somewhat. But the most important part of it is that as neighbors, you really need to pay attention to what's going on. You need to look out for each other. And last year, that man, Mr. Marvin Lynch, who we put away for 27 break-ins, and still have some more to clear up on him. Mr. Marvin Lynch was held as a prowler on the premises, meaning that someone saw him, called the police, and before he could get off the premises, he was held by the police. So that's the point I'm making, that we have to be a little bit more neighborly. We can also invest in animals for those who like dogs and so on. But again, the best part of this is your community partnership. People relating to each other, speaking to each other when you see strangers come into your community, informing the police of what is going on, and coming out to your neighborhood watch meetings, because many of you don't either. What we find as well is that when persons break into your homes and we start asking you questions, that you cannot give us any information about the person who you employed as a gardener or a helper or something of that nature. You're not able to give us information. You don't have a file on the individual. You don't have photograph. You don't have proper address, and so on. And so we have to encourage you now that if you are going to employ persons at your home in any capacity at all, that you need to have a file on that individual. And that will go a far way in assisting us in our investigations. And we don't need to tell you that you don't need to not to accommodate strangers inside your house, because that's a given. I've been preaching to licensed firearm holders not to leave your weapons inside your house. That when you are going out, especially for extended period of time, leave the firearms with the FLA, because I'm sure they will accommodate that. So those are some of the target hardening pointers that we have to share, and that we will be, again, we'll be reiterating these when we come to the community meetings, the farm watch meetings, the neighborhood watch meetings, the citizens association meetings, consultative meetings, all of them. We will be going back through them repeatedly because we need to get the message to you. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to say that in respect to many of the things happening around us in this country, that our main challenge is we have not been doing badly. Our murder situation is quite tolerable. We are working hard to reduce our breakings. And of course, we are encouraging you through the Manchester Chamber of Commerce and the other entities to partner with us because we are here to serve you. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Cameron. And I know you have questions for him. We will take all the questions after the minister would have made his presentation. I will now invite Ms. Latoya Knight to introduce to you our next speaker.